Hey everybody, it is Catherine. Hello and welcome to this week's weekly energy check-in for the week of July 7th, 2019. We're in a really interesting and special and electric time. We are finding ourselves right now in a portal within a portal. So this is an energy portal that is the 7-7 energy portal. This is a super solar gateway where a lot of really interesting things are happening. I'm going to talk about that in just a second. And July itself is really a very interesting portal of energy. It is a vessel of energy within this 31-day period that is very palpable, very electric, bringing in a lot of swift change, and it can feel very overwhelming if we're not prepared for it. But this is going to make everything look pretty different at the end of July. So let's get into it for this week. So we have some really interesting things coming in and dying out. It's like this beautiful handshake, this cosmic handshake with the universe that's saying, okay, well, let's kind of bring things back into balance. Let's let some old paradigms, some old power struggles die out as a result of this swift energy moving in and sweeping in from the cosmic realms and coming in down here. And let's bring in some very wonderful balancing energy to kind of regenerate and maybe even resurrect some old energies that are ready to come back into our radar. Think of it this way. Because of this swift change of things moving out, and this can mean on a very individual level, ways of thinking that used to resonate with a person we felt like maybe a year ago, maybe 5 years ago, and they really just don't resonate with us anymore. They don't really inform our perspective in the same way. Hi, Dina. Hi, Sandra. And by virtue of those things moving out, we are making room energetically for, let's just say, ancient ways of feeling, and we could even call it ancient female energy, very long, in need of resurrecting, that is bringing us back into a higher mind of mental balancing. And we think of the mental energy as being very masculine, but when it's out of balance, it's usually because we've surrendered so much of our divine feminine or sacred feminine, and we've opted purely into rationale, analysis, intellect over the reasoning of the heart or information that comes from an intuitive level, and that will leave things in an extreme imbalance, in a very negative expression of that polarity. So we're bringing in a lot of the divine feminine, and this will feel for a lot of you like ancient energies coming back in and informing our perspective, and maybe even giving us this kind of feeling like, yeah, somewhere I remember this. Like there's this kind of feeling in me that feels like this is familiar. I've known this. I've done this. I've lived this out before. I've felt this way before. I've known this before. So that's going to be something that comes in for a lot of people, male and female. Okay, this is not gender specific. Just because we're talking about ancient feminine energies, it doesn't mean it's just women that are going to feel it. There's going to be a very strong balancing energy with this kind of swift change of cosmic and celestial events that are bringing in a lot of converging different, let's just say, perspectives, and a lot of them being the higher mind perspective, the higher heart perspective. This kind of feeling of bringing all things back into balance, back into harmony. And this is going to be felt on a very individual level for many of us, but collectively, we're going to see some things in the collective really balance out this month. So if you are someone that follows politics, geopolitics especially, the things that are going to happen with Mother Earth and the politics surrounding how we deal with Mother Earth, let's just say the things that just get discussed in a summit, a world summit, things like that, global strategies for helping Mama Earth out, things are going to shift and come back into balance a lot with that just in this month, but it's going to have a lingering ripple effect that will go through August and September and maybe even through the end of this year as well. But this super solar gateway that we find ourselves in with the 7-7 portal, like I said, this is a portal within a portal. July is a big energy portal that holds an incredibly intense and potent and palpable amount of energy, but within that, we find ourselves in the 7-7 portal. A couple of days ago, we started to feel the energies of this building. We are on the kind of, let's just say, we're in the epicenter of the energies here now, but we're still going to have lingering effects from the 7-7 portal over the next 4 days, really. It's going to feel really intense for some of us who are already on a spiritual journey. Those of us who are really trying to work through fear and find our empowerment, we're going to be really shown where we're holding on to these waves of acting out in fear, thinking in fear, feeling fearful. We're going to be shown in very stark relief where we're doing that. And we're going to be wanting to, let's just say, create new ways of dealing with this fear. A lot of us are going to feel very pushed or nudged or pulled towards looking at our lives in a different way and following new passages of solving our problems. Being solution oriented in a way where maybe we're trying on a different way of problem solving that we've never done before, but it'll just feel like the right time for us. And bringing this back around to what I was talking about in the beginning here, this kind of ancient feminine energy that's coming through, this can lead to this kind of epiphany or this awakening or this kind of revelation about, this is the way I used to solve problems, or this is the way I used to think about this thing. And it's really kind of going to be a perspective shift that will allow us to reframe our entire world view, to look at our lives in a way where we're pulling back the lens and seeing from the God eye, the goddess eye perspective, all of the moving parts in our life, and being able to see it almost like puzzle pieces in front of us and saying, that's why that didn't fit there, because it goes over there. So there's going to be a lot of places where we're going to be able to make things fit if we're present, if we're aware with this process, if we're in a place where we're pretending not to know the stuff anymore. A lot of us have come full circle with this kind of feeling like, I just want to pretend that I don't know this about myself, because it's a lot more painful if I notice this thing, or if I see this pattern, or if I'm aware of this programming that I have, if I'm aware of this belief system that I have. If I own up to it, that means I have to do something about it. A lot of people are going to be waking up and finding themselves on the other side of that journey, which means something very progressive. So if you find yourself in that place, don't be afraid. Don't fear what your soul is asking you to do, because there's a ton of support right now. Believe me, in the celestial realms and all the helpers that are out there, let's just say, whether you work with guides or you work directly with goddess energy, mother creatrix energy like I do, or you have galactic guides, celestial beings that help you out, angels, whatever you want to call them, whatever guides come in and assist you, they are all there standing sentinel, and they are ready to help, because it's very, very, let's just say, apparent that down here on planet Earth, we're going through some major tumultuous times. So we're getting more support now than ever. All you need to do is ask, okay? So I'm looking at my notes here because there's so much this week and within this portal that I don't want to forget anything. So excuse me if I'm looking down at my notes. Let me look at my feed just to see if people have any questions. Okay, and I can't always see who's here. So the super solar gateway is really shining a light, okay? It's bringing back also in this gateway something that has felt lost to us. Something that has felt lost to us because we've been disillusioned. We've been living in chaos. We've been living in confusion. We have that battle royale, many of us, going on between the ego and the intuitive self, the higher self, the oversoul. And this kind of battle royale is kind of coming to this culmination. And you get to decide, which energy do I want to listen to? Which energy do I want to have inform my life going forward? So it's like, and I'm going to use a Mad Max reference here, going into the Thunderdome. Mad Max Thunderdome. 2 energies enter, 1 energy leaves. That kind of feeling. It's either going to be that you're going to go with the ego and continue to be in that disillusionment, where you have that feeling something has been lost to you, or you enter into the trust of being led by the energy of your oversoul, your highest aspect of your higher self, essentially, and allowing yourself to be led by the soul and what your soul is asking for with a level of trust and faith. It really is that kind of diametrically opposed at this time. So you get to decide, because you're a human being with free will, you get to decide where you want to place your energy, what you want to focus on. Which brings me back to something else that's in the title of this, which is the power of increase. What you focus on grows. The power of increase is all about unbecoming, unlearning everything that you are not. And when you do that, it's like anointing yourself in the energies of the highest version, the highest ideal of you, and saying, yes, I say yes to this. I am that. I am divinity in a human suit, and I am walking forward in faith. I am leading my life from that high level of perspective. And when you do that, you are opening up to that feeling where you've been disillusioned, or that feeling of whatever's been lost to you. You are setting the fertile ground for whatever has felt lost to you, wherever you've been in spiritual disillusionment, emotional or mental disillusionment. This is the fertile ground within which those seeds get planted and can renew and regenerate anew. This is very, very exciting. This is restoration of ancient forces. Again, I mentioned the sacred feminine, a lot of that coming back, bringing back a lot into balance, coming back to life, that which has felt dead to you, something that is felt dead to you that you want to revive, okay? I want to make that very clear. Something you want to come back into your field of awareness again. Where you have felt emotionally numb or even physically challenged, this is being brought back, regenerated in this super solar gateway. It's like this regenerating sun that is giving life back to all of the things that have been withering and dying and have been dormant for a long time. You know, everything has its time. It's not wrong that these things were gone. It's actually divinely led that these things are coming back into our awareness, into our purview, into our domain of reality again, and what we think of as reality. The things that felt so raw and real and maybe even disempowering, the imbalance of that is being corrected, okay, in many, many, many ways for many of us. And by virtue of these paradigms falling away, the power imbalance, the power structures of, let's just say, politics, let's just say social mores, cultural norms, things that have been imbalanced and not bringing an egalitarian energy to the world, that's being brought back into balance, back into harmony. This is a very, very good thing. And with that rebalancing, the power of increase has the ability to completely, what's the word I'm looking for? Bring in this kind of celestial bounty, okay? Celestial abundance. And celestial abundance is very different from the physical abundance that we think of here down on planet Earth, of having, you know, more than just our human needs met, more than enough money in the bank, more than enough food in the fridge, more than enough income coming in from our job. It's not just about that kind of abundance. Celestial abundance means that what's in our heart, what we're being led by our soul to pursue, if we focus on that, if we focus on that which our soul is calling us to, the power of increase, so the celestial abundance follows our attention. It follows our focus. Things start to come in, opportunities, the right people that align with what we're asking for, the right opportunities, events and experiences that are very much directly associated with what we are asking for. And I'm not talking about what the ego is asking for. I'm talking about what our souls are asking for, the power of increase. So the more you focus on that which feels good in your heart, what feels aligned with your higher heart perspective, your highest oversoul perspective, the more you focus on that, even though it feels like the rest of your life might be, unrecognizable, or things feel really shaky or wonky in your life, you can choose to focus on that. The power of increase will feed that as well. But wouldn't you rather have this celestial bounty, this power of increase, feeding the things that your soul is asking you for, okay? What you focus on grows very intensely in this gateway, this portal, especially the 7-7 portal, which is in the next 4 days. Be very careful about what you're thinking about. Be very aware and in control of what you're thinking, what you're feeling. Make sure there's a coherent energy there. That means what you're thinking, what you're feeling, and how you are acting, how you are showing up in your everyday life. Those are on a coherent frequency, meaning they all meet up, they all match up, they're all in alignment. And focusing on that energy, especially with what your soul is asking you to pursue, you're going to be really surprised at the wonderful outcomes, the delightfully unpredictable outcomes that will come to pass when you put that energy on where you want it to be, okay? So what else did I want to say? Oh, and some very interesting messages around those of you who feel like you've been in that place where you've been struggling to make something happen for a long time, especially those of you who feel like, okay, I am just giving and giving and giving and giving. What's up? Well, you know what? You need to allow yourself to receive. Are you allowing yourself to receive? Are you giving yourself permission to get as much as you give, and better yet, to receive even more than you give? Who says that you have to get just as much as you give? Why can't you receive more? And if there's some limited thinking or some belief system that's blocking you from allowing that belief in, that it's okay for me to receive more than I give, this is a time to examine that. This is a time to release that and set that free, because this is part of that limiting paradigm that's dissolving, that's going away. And the more that we act on this on an individual level and clean this up in our lives, we're informing the collective, especially the collective feminine, because we've long been suffering from a hangover of we always have to give more than we receive. Nope. So examine where you're doing that in your life. If you are doing that in your life, why isn't it okay for you to receive more than you give? What's wrong with that? You know, do you cringe when someone gives you a compliment? Do you feel like you have to automatically give someone a compliment back? I'm not talking about just money here. I'm talking about allowing yourself to receive something that just feels good. Where is that imbalance in your life? This is a time to examine that. Giving yourself the blessing of receiving this means, what can you do to make more room for this stuff to come in? Because it's not about just decluttering here. I'm talking about something greater than decluttering. I'm talking about what crops, let's just say, can now be harvested. What have you been laboring over for a long time that, you know, the fruits of that labor have just been there ripening, maybe over ripening, and you haven't allowed yourself to bring that in and fully receive the fruits of your labors over time? Or is there a project that is half completed, half articulated, something you can clean up and mark downloaded and complete? That could be something that you're working through in terms of clearing shadow or releasing something in your life where you feel like, I'm on a journey of releasing this fear. I'm on a journey of releasing this level of disempowerment, being disenfranchised from feeling I'm enough or I'm worthy or whatever that is. It's time to clean that up, because you are making room for the power of increase by cleaning up something that's ready to go, that's ready to be marked complete. Any projects that I mentioned that need completion, need to be finished up. Maybe it's even an art project. Maybe it is something you've been working on for work. Maybe it's something you've been collaborating on with a friend. Finish it, clean it up. Marking something complete, instead of leaving just kind of this open-ended energy, means that your energy isn't being siphoned off for like a bunch of different things. And you're able to have very clear, concise kind of let's just say a funnel of energy that's flowing towards the thing that you really desire, that you really want to come to pass for you right now. Doesn't matter what it is. But when you clear up anywhere where your energy is scattered amongst a bunch of different things, think of how much more energy you can harness towards that one thing that you want to focus on, that thing that your soul is calling you to do, okay? So it's time to clean it up. Anything long labored over can now be harvested, okay? Half-finished projects, things that need revisions as well. Maybe there's something that is complete. Maybe let's just say you wrote a book and it's done, but you don't like the way it's done. Maybe it needs some illustrations. Maybe it needs some revisions. Maybe it needs some editing, okay? Clean it up. You're going to open up that energy, that field of creative energy so much more for you to be focused on that which you truly desire. And it doesn't mean that your energy goes away from that project. It just transmutes, it transforms. And the energy of something not completed, of something half articulated, can be very distracting. it can really kind of siphon off our energy in a lot of different ways that aren't necessarily productive for us. And it gives the universe mixed messages about where your energy is. So if your energy is not, diverted amongst a bunch of different things, and it's truly focused on one thing, guess what the universe is going to help you co-create? That one thing that you have your entire energy focused on, okay? So just think about it that way. And the last thing I want to talk about is the Wounded Leader Archetype. So this super solar gateway, think of it as a high-powered vacuum. Think of it as kind of a high-powered vacuum that's kind of pulling away or siphoning away energies here that are no longer informing the human collective in a way where we can progressively move forward as a whole, in humanity as a whole. Things that have been feeling a little too dogmatic, things that have been indoctrinated into our way of being, sometimes religious stuff that has informed the collective in a way that's not necessarily good for everybody. Maybe it's good for a certain group of people, but it's not good across the board for everybody. Anywhere where that imbalance is, where the power goes to the few instead of the power of the many, this is part of the energy that's dying off. This is really, really important right now to understand this, because where we have felt this kind of disempowerment, let's just say as a collective, it is because we have allowed ourselves to believe, kind of in this hive mind mentality, that power, real power, goes into the hands of the few instead of the hands of the many. We've had a lot of religious, political structures that have validated that belief for us time and time again. But this is part of the energy that is dying off. This is part of a power structure, an imbalanced power structure that is a paradigm that is dissolving. It is going away. And the way that we ensure imbalanced paradigms dissolving, going away, those timelines evaporating, is if we participate in a new paradigm individually and then collectively. And one of the things that we have been maybe involuntarily participating in is this kind of wounded leader archetype, where we have felt the energy of disempowerment informing our perspective and letting us think that the world is just this way. That's just how it is. It is what it is, which is one of my, I hate that saying, because it carries such an air of resignation to it and such an air of disempowerment, which is basically you saying to the universe, I don't have the ability to change this. Me, who the hell am I to try to change this? It is what it is. No. Let's just say that phrase can go the way of the cuckoo, and it can go the way of this dissolving paradigm of imbalanced power structure, okay? The wounded leader archetype is anywhere we're saying, I can't effect a change. Who the hell am I? I'm wrapped up in my own drama. I can't even break free from my past. I'm too poor. I'm too fat. I'm too skinny. I'm too stupid. I don't understand the ways of the world. No one ever listens to me. This is all part of the wounded leader archetype. And it's time for us to really look at what we're saying and to understand the weight that we carry, the burden that we carry in those words, in those disempowering beliefs, in that disempowering thought system, has been part of a paradigm that keeps the power in the hands of the few rather than the hands of the many. We are all oracles, meaning we all have the power to be a filter of divine light and to be an expression of it, an extension of it right down here on planet Earth. The words that we use, the energy that we carry in our heart, and we allow that to ripple outward when we're out at the grocery store, when we're walking our dog, when we're at work. We often don't believe in the value, the truth of our own power. We've been taught to disinherit it, disown it. We've been taught to be disenfranchised of it over and over and over again through politics, through religion, through what sex you are, whatever it is. And I'm here to tell you that this wounded leader archetype is one of those archetypes that is going away as part of the dissolving paradigms. Literally, the supersolar gateway is shining a very powerful beacon of light on this paradigm, and it's showing you right now on an individual level where you are carrying this archetype within you. Depending on how much of a disempowering belief system you hold on an individual level, that is directly correlated by how much you are carrying this wounded leader archetype within you. Do you want to keep that up? Do you want to keep that going? Again, you are a human being with free will choice. Whatever, I put up a quote the other day and I love it. I love it so much. Whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. Think about that. Whatever you are not changing, you are choosing. So this supersolar gateway is shining a huge beacon of light on what it is that you are voluntarily not changing. So you're going to see exactly what you're doing that is self-limiting. You're going to see exactly what you're doing and know exactly what you're doing that is self-negating. So when you decide and make a very powerful decision to stay where you are and not do anything about it, or likewise make a very powerful decision to completely transform that and change that for yourself, understand that that's what you are choosing either way. By not doing something about it, you are choosing. By doing something about it, making a decision, deciding things are going to be different, that is also choosing. Which one will it be for you? Are you holding this wounded leader archetype? It's time for this to go away. You, me, and everyone we know have the ability to change the world. The only thing stopping you is your belief that that is not so. So how's that going to shake out for you? And it doesn't mean that you have to, completely change your life and become a monk or something like that. It's the little things that we do that have a ripple effect. It's the people that are in our small tribe that we can affect. And once they start to see what a beacon of light we can be, and it may feel very small for us at first, that's fine. That's fine. But that's going to ripple out to someone in your direct vicinity. And that person is going to be informed by that higher heart perspective. They're going to do something wonderful that's part of the highest expression of who they are. That's going to ripple out to their tribe, and so on and so on and so on. Okay? Stop thinking that what you have to do has to be so big and colossal that you have to be Gandhi or Mother Teresa. No, I mean, you can, and please do if you feel called to that. But oftentimes what we do to inform the collective of humanity in a really powerful ripple effect kind of way is the choices that we make that may seem small. They might seem microscopic on our individual level of everyday human existence. But you have no idea how those things could ripple out into the collective. So there it is. That's the energy of this very potent month of July, this very potent week. The next 4 days are going to feel big for a lot of people, especially if you're already on a major journey of spiritual awakening, of human awakening, because those things are two sides of the same coin. They are not separate from each other, believe me. You're going to be shown some things that maybe you've been pretending not to know. Do you want to keep pretending not to know it? Do you want to keep playing out that wounded leader archetype? Entirely up to you. And there's no judgment at all. But these are the things that are going to be coming up, and you're not going to be able to deny them anymore. But you can still make that choice to not do anything about it. And believe me, when you make that decision to not do anything, to not change anything, that is a choice. That is a choice to stay right where you are. But a lot of you are going to feel this kind of lifting up, highly supportive energy where you're going to be feeling like you're held aloft. You're kind of floating. And in that, you're going to feel like, okay, I feel good. This feels good. I can't explain it, but it just feels good. It feels right to follow my heart. It feels right to follow my soul's guidance. Go with that. There's nothing to fear. And the more you do that, you amplify and activate the power of increase so that what you focus on as feeling something good, that's just going to multiply with that celestial bounty that I was talking about. So I want to wish you all so much love and peace. Thank you for those who watch me live, and if you are watching the replay, love and peace. Bye-bye.